slowly falling down cooler闇へ but never going back touch 向かえどうして高く上げてなお大ボーナなんてもうグッバイ証拠りもなくファイナカマと Need another day I wanna know it from nothing no more どこまでも上がってこう今超えてく恐れずに break it up I'm not afraid yeah break it Give me the point oh in the dark 自分の力に変え wipe out 今ねじ曲げる視線あれば rolling I never ever care for them 今立ち向かう and I defeat myself I got ghosts, can I show safe for back foot I got ghosts, can I show see a soft foot Come away from me, shut my shadow Smoke, let us set my tongue on this fix I could Nobody knows, goes like in a flow Live fast, hold up.
Hey you guys, it's your girl T, and tonight has been such a crazy night. You know, if you guys have been on Facebook with me, initially when I came on there, I was talking about the whole Coach Bag situation. I was getting ready to make a video, and my girl down in Georgia, one of my real good friends, she called me and was like, T, turn on the TV, Zimmerman just got off. And honestly, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, what? Come on, Florida. You know, that was on my first thought, like, what the hell is going on? Then after it sinked in, the tears started rolling. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel bad about this whole situation. You know, I feel like I was one of the first YouTubers who came out with the video about the whole Trayvon situation. I talked about it on my channel several times. I talked about when Obama said if he had a son, he would look like Trayvon. I addressed the whole Rachel Gentile situation. And even just as recently as 24 hours ago, 2 days ago, something like that, uploaded a video about the whole Angry Trayvon Martin app. And this whole situation really hurts. It bothers me because it's just so many dynamics to this story. You know, one, this man who took another person's life is free on a bullshit law like stand your ground. You know, I guess it just really wakes me up to the injustices of the justice system. You know, people always ask me, why do you always say the justice system is a joke? Why do you think it's bullshit? The justice system to me is a joke possibly because I'm a vlogger. So I get sent so many stories and I see so many things that maybe you're not seeing or you're missing. Because if I wasn't a vlogger, I wouldn't know half these stories. But let me just take you back to a couple cases that just kind of really bother me with how their verdicts came out. So back in 2012, there was a woman from Jacksonville, Florida. Her name was Marissa Alexander. And basically, she was found guilty. And they sentenced her to 20 years in prison for firing a warning shot at her abusive ex-husband. She claimed stand your ground, and they gave her 20 years in prison. Now, a few years ago, we had the whole Mike Vick situation. This man did 2 years in jail for killing dogs. And then recently, about a month ago, I did a video about a man named Willie Smith. They sentenced him to 50 years in prison for stealing a $30 pack of ribs, okay? Granted, he was a habitual thief. He was always stealing stuff. He looks like he has a drug problem, but he's never killed nobody. He's never seriously hurt nobody. But they gave him 50 years in prison for stealing ribs. On the other hand, you have Casey Anthony, who by all means, even if she did not kill her daughter, she should have been charged with the least negligence for not calling the police and letting them know that her daughter was missing for days. She said nothing. She didn't call the police, nothing. She just shrugged her shoulders and moved on with her life. And she was found innocent and was able to walk free. Now you have George Zimmerman, and he's just been found not guilty of taking Trayvon Martin's life. And this is why I say that you can run into somebody that you do not know, and they can change your life at a moment's notice. This young man literally lost his life because of assumptions. He assumed that George was there to attack him or do some type of harm to him, and naturally his defenses were up. And he beat the hell out of George. And in return, George shot him supposedly in self-defense because he was losing the fight. But from jump, George Zimmerman assumed that Trayvon was up to no good because he was black and he had on a hoodie. This whole situation really hurts just for the fact that you guys know I'm out here, I'm raising 2 black male children. And when kids can't even just be themselves and go out and go do them without the risk of somebody assuming that they're out here to rob or do something wrong, and then they end up losing their life, and then that person gets out, that bothers me. You know, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Some people feel like he is not guilty and it was self-defense, and other people feel like he's guilty. What I will say is this. What does bother me about this whole case is the selective outrage. You know, we can all come together as a people and be upset about this one Hispanic, white man, whatever you want to call Zimmerman. I still look at him as a Hispanic. He doesn't look white to me at all, but, you know, whatever you want to call him. We can all come together as a people and get up in arms about this case and get upset about this case. Folks are on Twitter talking about rioting. People are trying to start a race war. People are saying, you know, kill all white people and, you know, everything else. But yet in our own community, you have black men out here killing black children. Where's the outrage when Tony Holden killed little Snoop for no damn reason other than a video game? Where's the outrage when young black kids are on the streets of Chicago with no qualms killing each other, calling it Chirac? Every day I am sent stories from Chicago of young black men killing young black men. So it's a lot of dynamics that are bothering me about this whole situation. I'm trying not to cry. I'm trying to keep my emotions in check. But it's a lot of things that are bothering me about this whole situation. Was Zimmerman in the wrong? Absolutely. I feel he was in the wrong 100%. He had no business following that young man. He should have stayed in his damn place. But with that being said, we need to be upset about every killing. We need to be upset about every unjustified killing of a young black male or female, or any child for that matter. You know, I'm a very sensitive person, and y'all know I do stories about everybody. I don't just talk about things that affect the black community or just black children. When white kids get jumped, when white kids get hurt, come up missing, get molested, I go in just as well. I don't like to see any kid hurt or killed, because you never know what that child's full potential could have been. Trayvon is dead at the age of 17. He could have been the next president. He could have been a lawyer. He could have been a doctor. But we'll never get to know that because he never got to reach his full potential. I think, well, what if I would have died at 17? I would have never reached my full potential. What if I'd have been killed when I was 8? I would have never reached my full potential. So it sickens me when I see any child lose their life, black, white, or other. The trending topics are really scary right now. As I'm talking, these are the #1 trending topics right now in the world. Folks talking about killing black people. You got black people talking about killing white people. I'll say this. We need to stop letting the media gas our heads up, because if you go out there and you go take somebody's life who's done nothing to you, based on this case, best believe CNN, H&L News, Fox News, and all them other bullshit-ass news outlets will not be there to put money on your books. They will not be there to bail you out of jail, and they damn sure won't be paying for your funeral if you fuck around and get killed. I have a lot of subscribers down in Florida, and I'm praying for y'all. I want y'all to be safe, and I want y'all to be smart. Do not let this case get you so outraged that you go out there and you go do something stupid. It's not worth it. Let's remember this boy's memory in a peaceful way. Don't go out there and do no BS and hurt somebody based on the whole Trayvon Martin situation. Don't stain that boy's name any more than it's been stained already by the media and by these trolls on the internet. You got folks bringing up his past, talking about him smoking weed, wearing gold teeth. So what? That don't negate shit. The little boy lost his life over an assumption. We've all been teenagers. We've all done stupid stuff. We've all followed dumb fads. So what? Half y'all judging him probably smoke weed or do worse. At the end of the day, this hurts. And this verdict needs to be a wake-up call. I feel like they let him off and he got away with that stand your ground defense because now it can be implemented. What scares me about this whole situation is that I feel like now anytime somebody's scared when they see a group of young black men, they can just shoot and claim stand your ground. Shortly after the whole Trayvon Martin situation, a kid and his friends were playing loud music. A white man was upset, told them to turn it down, some words were exchanged, and he shot one of them kids. And guess what he's claiming right now? Stand your ground. His trial is coming up in a few months, and I'll be watching that trial very closely as well. This shit is sick when you can take somebody's life and then just claim stand your ground. Now understand if it's somebody breaking into your home, somebody about to hurt you and your immediate family, then I understand that. But you feeling some type of way on the street, there's too much room for error with that one. I run into crazy people all the time who stare at me, look at me funny. That does not give me the right to blast them away because I feel some type of way. If I'm uncomfortable with this situation, I get my ass up out that situation right there and then. You know, this whole situation is tragic. My heart goes out to his family. You know, not only have they had to bury their son, they've had to go through this whole entire trial, and then to see Zimmerman walk. I could only imagine what his parents are feeling right now. Matter of fact, here goes some of the tweets that they sent out. And I also feel bad for Rachel Gentile. You got people on the internet already blaming her. She has nothing to do with this. They were going to find him not guilty one way or another. I was talking about this the other day with my guy, and I told him, I said, I can honestly see Zimmerman walking. Because you could just cut the damn tension with a knife. And when I was reading the comments online and in the forums and on the blogs and things like that, and how people were breaking down the whole self-defense and how people just, you know, the way that people were feeling about it, I'm like, this man, there could be a very strong possibility this man could get off. But he was going to get off regardless, and I don't blame Rachel Gentile. She never wanted a part of the case from jump. You know, this whole situation is tragic, but we need to learn from this. We don't need to go out there and show out. We don't need to go out there and be violent. We don't need to go out there and kill anybody because of their race or their ethnicity. It's not that serious. There are white people in my timeline. There are white people on my Facebook page breaking down over this verdict. Upset. Just as much as the black folks are upset. But then you got white folks who are cool with the verdict and who agree with it, but don't get it twisted. There's some black people out here who are cool and agree with the verdict as well. Let's not make this a whole race debate. Let's not feed into the bullshit that the media is putting out there. The media is trying to start some mess. They're trying to start a war. They're trying to cause chaos and division. Is the justice system messed up? Yes. Does the justice system need to be fixed? Yes. Do I agree with this verdict? Hell no, I don't agree with this verdict. But I'm not about to go out there and go shoot nobody either. Because I have kids I got to think about. So I just want people to be smart. Don't let this verdict get you so upset that you go out there and do something stupid, that you go out there and you lose your life and now your family's burying you. Let's respect this young man's family, their privacy. Let's respect his memory. If we want to say what we want to say, let's do that. But let's say that in peace. Let's march in peace. Let's state everything in peace. We ain't got to be out here rioting and acting a fool. This show that we do have some restraint. And last but not least, I just want to stress again, let this not be the only case that you get upset about. Let's get upset whenever any child loses their life foolishly, over something stupid, over something petty. Let's hold human life to more of a value than animal life. If we can get up in arms and threaten the police and get upset about a dog getting shot on the street and make that video viral, let's get upset about all these kids out here from Chicago to New York to LA to New Orleans who are losing their life over nonsense. Let's get upset for every child out here. No child deserves to have their life cut short over some nonsense. So anyways, I don't want to make this video too long. Go ahead, leave a comment. Let me know your feelings on the whole Zimmerman verdict about him not being found guilty. Do you agree with the verdict? Do you disagree with the verdict? And how do you feel about the whole situation on Twitter with folks going back and forth, this whole potential race war that the media is trying to create? Let me know your thoughts on everything. All right. Deuces.
Hello YouTube, I'm back again with another video. Sorry that you noticed there was a 15-minute rant about Lovely T speaking on the Trayvon Martin case after George Zimmerman was let off. I actually did want to talk about this concern at the time. I was in high school and it was a really big deal and people were very surprised and shocked. But besides all the long-winded talk, I'm just gonna get straight into the detail. I truly believe George Zimmerman should never let him been off, in my opinion. And people might claim it was self-defense, but it goes back to what I said. What I dealt with last year. I actually fully understand why Trayvon Martin did what he did, because especially it was confirmed that George Zimmerman was not allowed to approach near, was not allowed to get near Trayvon Martin, and he was actually a security guard. So yeah, it actually, because of what happened to me last year, yes, I truly despise George Zimmerman, and I feel like people like him are just outright stupid, because people believe just because they're a security guard, they can go around, be hostile towards you, act like they have power over you, when really that you can actually be able to press charges on that. And it felt like I was dealing with George Zimmerman last year, although it may have not been him. And it's not always about race. They're just people who are on a power trip. That's why I despise people like George Zimmerman. Again, he did murder Trayvon Martin, and it was not. The thing was that whether it was in self-defense, he should have never decided to follow Trayvon Martin. Let the law do its job. And I can't make assumptions about Trayvon Martin because we don't know the reason as to why he did what he did. As you can tell from what we heard, he went out late last night. Not last night. He went late night just to buy some Skittles and a drink. He was on the way walking home, and then although Zimmerman may have been the neighborhood watch, Trayvon knows that Zimmerman was literally tailing him. So he's trying to figure out what's up with this dude. And just like T said, his defenses are up, and I would be in that same predicament if someone I'm not the type. Trust me. Who in the world would let anybody stalk them or harass them? I truly believe people who are being harassed, stalked, is one thing walking away from this, but the person has a choice whether to defend themselves. Sometimes, yes, it's best to walk away from situations, but sometimes, if you keep walking, it gives that person more power to try and take advantage of you, because they feel like if you don't notice, they have you defenseless, and they can just jump you, attack you, do whatever they can. So don't believe the words that come out of people like Zimmerman, those who try to claim victim, because. Again, it's you have to think about it. Why would you even think of following a kid when the police told you that's not your job? And Trayvon Martin was literally, from what I understand, he was literally being the brakes off of Zimmerman. And when Zimmerman realized he couldn't defend himself, he decided to pull his gun and shoot him. And at the time, yes, this was a big deal. People assumed this was actually this is a race thing, that Trayvon was being targeted simply because of the color of his skin. Who knows? That could have been the case, you guys. But it's like at the same time, I don't like to assume about people, but why would you assume like Trayvon's suspicious? Could have been the color of his skin, or what is that made you suspicious of a young kid that's walking late at night? Although yes, sure, these kids shouldn't be walking outside outside of their curfew, but it doesn't mean adults should be curious as to what they're doing. But be real, you guys. Zimmerman should never let it bin off in my eyes. And although yes, I did see the trial with Rachel Jontel, although she seemed like she couldn't articulate, and people did assume that she was African. I kind of did go in her because she kind of seemed ignorant. At the same time, yes, she did not want to force herself to be in the court. They were putting a lot of pressure on her as if she was supposed to know what happened, because apparently she was the first person that Trayvon talked to before his death. The first person. It was before the altercations, and then I don't know if it was probably into that maybe Chantal was telling him what to do, advised him, and then Rachel Chantal happened to be Trayvon Martin's friend, and people assume that happened to be his girlfriend. I for who knows, it could have been someone that his friend, and she was 19 at the time, and apparently she basically held back in high school. Though I don't know whether they made. Yeah, there are a lot of kids, and there are a lot of people who've been held back from high school. I can't be so quick to judge whether it could be because they're being because they're foreigners, or they transferred from like a different country, so they're not used to it. So of course they're going to be behind, and English is obviously not her first language, because from her sense she's Haitian, so she speaks other languages besides English. So clearly English is not her strong point. But in a way, I was kind of ignorant at the time to assume whether Rachel Jontel was being belligerent and rude, disrespectful. At the time, yes. But then when you think about it, now the more I think about it, she was put under a lot of like duress, like she was forced to talk. And again, Trayvon was the first to call her, so at the same time, it's like you have all that pressure being put on you, but at the same time, it's like you can't really respect someone who's being outright belligerent and disrespectful and ignorant in the courtroom, because at the time, yes, the people in the court may not, even though they may be professional, they may be trying to keep their moral ground, but there you just don't get it twisted, because some of these people are most likely not always good people. And Lovely T did bring up a very valid point, like because of an incident like this, if Zimmerman is able to get away with killing somebody like Trayvon Martin, this could literally impact a lot of black people's lives. And now a lot of black people are in fear of their life. Now we got to be more cautious. And then now, especially growing up now, and I realized that, of course, you have to be fully aware now is that there are people who might, especially if you're black, you gotta always watch your surroundings. People will be quick to assume that you're stealing, you're out here causing trouble, and now, of course, it would be the best time to always keep your guard up. But at the same time, with me, it's like, if I'm to support a black person, the one thing I would never do is like, whether they're part of my race, I will never condone a sociopath. If they're out here going out killing innocent people that have nothing to do with them, best believe I'm not going to be rooting for them. So that's one thing you guys get to keep in mind. But of course, this is being, like she said, this is being implemented where more black people might be targeted. For murder crimes, they might be the victim of someone who has concealed carry, and decide if they see a black person that doesn't make them feel comfortable, they can assume he's going out looking, seeking trouble, and then the first thing you do is just pull a gun, shoot them. And I have to worry too. If I'm in Florida, if I'm any of those parts of the U.S., you guys got to be very aware. You got to be very careful, you guys. And I'm not gonna sell my own race out. I'm not. Trust me. I'm not gonna be delusioned to say that this isn't happening. I'm pretty sure it's going on. So I'm not going to be turning a blind eye and being delusional, because she was speaking a lot of good like she was making a lot of valid points. She made a lot of good points, and some of those things you cannot ignore. And she clearly was speaking out of her heart, and that's where I respect T for that. But Zimmerman, it's still crazy how Zimmerman is still living his life. Whether he did get people confirmed, whether he got karma, whether, and I knew someone, I heard, it wasn't recently, but there was, this is like before Trayvon, like this is after Trayvon was murdered. But he literally gained, especially after what he did to Trayvon. I knew a fact, George gained a lot of weight because he felt he was pretty much forced staying south, and there was like a group of angry black people in the mob wanting his head, seriously. And that would be like when he confronted Trayvon, he was actually a lot more slimmer. But then when you notice is that like after that whole incident, that pariah that went on, when he arrested people after, he was pretty much being isolated in his own house, and then he gained a lot of weight. And even after he was let go, I heard, and I can show you, Zimmerman has no remorse for this. You can tell he has not learned, especially from what I heard. Even my opinion 350 said that he literally threatened to sue Trayvon's Martin, even having the nerve to torment Trayvon again by going after his family, saying, threatening to sue them over $1 million because of the harassment they was dealing with and him being accused. So after hearing that, and if it's confirmed based on his words, oh hell no! I'm gonna say he deserves everything that's coming to him. And I do know for a fact that he got a little of what was coming to him, because I was about to mention that someone did snuck him, smacked him across the face. And I hate to condone violence, but I have to say it was pretty much justified. It is nowhere near what he deserves, but he definitely deserves a lot worse, you guys. But it's crazy how this man is still out, and if he is, hopefully his life is miserable, and that he isn't able to enjoy and be free about his day. But I've already been really long with this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to check for more upcoming content later in the future. Be sure to check your notifications, comment, like, subscribe. Thank you.